The safe door was left wide open, bundles of cash stacked like mountains inside. Right in front of it stood a little girl only 6 years old, her big brown eyes fixed on the money that could change her and her mother's entire life. Behind her, her mother, Diana, scrubbed the desk, whispering, "Don't touch anything, baby. Remember what mommy always says." And across the room, in his leather chair, billionaire Alexander Stone kept his eyes closed, pretending to sleep. But he wasn't sleeping at all. He was watching, waiting, testing. Would the maid's little girl take the bait? Alexander had everything money could buy, yet he trusted no one. Too many people had betrayed him, business partners who cheated him, employees who stole, even a brother who had emptied one of his accounts. Trust, to him, was a word with no meaning. That's why he had created this test. He had left his safe wide open, stacks of $100 bills almost spilling onto the floor. Anyone who walked into this office would be tempted. And today, he wanted to know if his maid's daughter was like the rest of the world or different. The little girl stepped closer to the safe. Her tiny shoes made the faintest sound on the carpet. Alexander's heartbeat quickened. Her small hand hovered just inches from the money. His chest tightened. Would she take it? The silence in the room was sharp. Then, the girl spoke in a whisper. "Mommy, why does he keep so much money just sitting here? Doesn't he know someone might steal it?" Alexander felt the words strike him like an arrow. Diana's voice, though gentle, carried a firmness that only hardship could teach. "Because it isn't ours, Lily. And we must never take what isn't ours, even if we are hungry, even if life is hard. Do you understand?" Lily nodded slowly, though her gaze lingered on the endless green bills. Alexander could almost hear the battle inside her small heart. Then, after a long pause, she turned her back to the money. She walked quietly to his chair and slipped her tiny hand over his resting palm. "Mr. Stone," she whispered, believing he was asleep, "I don't want your money. I just wish I could buy mommy a new dress, because she looks so tired." Alexander's throat tightened. He had expected a child's greed, but instead he found her love. She didn't ask for toys. She didn't ask for candy. Not even food. All she wanted was something for her mother. It broke him. For a man who owned skyscrapers and fleets of cars, this little girl had shown him the one thing he couldn't buy: innocence. Slowly, he opened his eyes. Lily gasped, stumbling back. Diana turned sharply, dropping her rag in shock. "Sir, I'm so sorry, she didn't mean." But Alexander raised his hand. His voice, usually cold and commanding, softened. "She meant everything." He leaned forward, looking at the little girl. "Lily, do you know how many grown men I've seen fail this same test?" The child shook her head silently. Alexander gave a faint smile, though his eyes glistened with something he hadn't felt in years. "Too many." "But you turned away." Diana's lips trembled. "Sir, please don't punish us." "I swear she didn't." "Punish?" Alexander interrupted softly. "No, Diana. Today your daughter taught me more than all the books and business deals I've lived through." He stood, closing the heavy safe door with a deep click. The sound echoed through the room like an ending and a beginning. For a moment, silence hung in the air. Then Alexander walked to his desk, pulled out a checkbook, and began writing. His pen moved quickly, decisively, the way he signed million-dollar contracts. Diana's eyes widened. "Sir, what are you doing?" He tore the page and handed it to her. "A scholarship fund. For Lily." Her hands trembled as she held the check. "No, sir, I can't accept this. It's too much." Alexander shook his head. "It's not charity. It's an investment. Your daughter has a future brighter than gold, and I want to make sure she reaches it. Tears filled Diana's eyes. I don't know what to say. Say nothing, Alexander replied gently. He turned to Lily, bending to her level. And you, young lady, reminded me today that honesty is worth more than all the money in that safe. Never forget that. The little girl smiled, her innocence shining through. I won't, Mr. Stone. For the first time in years, Alexander felt something unfamiliar in his chest. It wasn't suspicion. It wasn't fear. It was trust. As mother and daughter left his office that evening, Alexander remained seated, staring at the closed safe. For years, he had thought money was his shield, his power, his only friend. But today, a 6-year-old child had proved him wrong. Wealth wasn't measured by stacks of bills. Wealth was measured by honesty, by love, by a little girl who had walked away from temptation with nothing in her pockets except the richest heart he had ever seen. And Alexander Stone knew, deep down, that this was the first day of a new chapter in his life.